Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Okay, right. Guys, then check this. What we completed in the last session. Data persistence through JDBC. Here we understood there, right? Data persistence through JDBC. Okay, fine. Here what we understand through this JDBC, that means the data persistence through JDBC. If you observe this, points are given totally. JDBC is nothing but what there, Java database connectivity. It is a step-by-step process or technology or an abstraction provided by Sun Microsystems and implemented by all database vendors in order to connect with the database from Java applications to perform database operations from Java applications. What are the various steps here we require there if you want to prepare any JDBC application? Load and register driver, establish connection between Java application and database, then create either statement or prepared statement or callable statement as per the requirement, write and execute SQL queries and close the resources. All the steps here we explained there clearly. In the yesterday, I think one diagram also we are given there. What is the diagram here are given there in the last session? Right, sir. Now here, load the driver, that is class.forName method, establish a connection here we have taken there. And step number 3 here, what we have to do there, create a statement object. We have to create what their statement. And before that here, I want to give the clarity. First one is like what there, class.forName method of driver class name here we have to provide oracle.jdbc.oracle driver. Next one is like what there, connection con is equal to driver manager.get connection of. Then inside this we have to provide jdbc colon oracle colon in colon at the rate localhost colon 1521 colon xe. Right, sir. xe comma database username and password here, then system comma Durga. System comma Durga, that we provided. That's okay, fine. Now this is second step here. Third step here, what we have done there. Right, sir. Now here statement object here we have to create statement st is equal to con dot create statement. That's okay. Now like this, then all the steps here we completed. Anyway, we already aware about it now. After creating that, might be here we are able to get like what there, write and execute SQL queries there. st dot execute update or execute query, whatever it may be. Something here we have used there. Select a star from emp1. We completed this part here. Then after that, then at the end here, what I'm telling there, fifth one is like what there, close the resources now. Close, that means con dot close is sufficient. Automatically all the resources are going to be closed. Right guys, now this part here we completed. Now your statement object is already existed here. Fourth step, if you observe this, three methods here we are able to use: execute query and execute update and execute methods. Execute methods. Through this here we are able to achieve. Okay. Now the point is like what I'm telling to you after completion of this. Guys, all of you observe carefully after completion of this. How JDBC is a data persistence. How we are able to achieve data persistence through JDBC. That point here I required mainly. How data persistence is going to be happen through JDBC. Guys, respond for my question. How we are able to achieve data persistence through JDBC? There are two directions here we are able to say. What are the two directions here? One is No, no, not serialization. How JDBC is a data persistence solution? That is my question, guys. Yesterday I completed the total JDBC content. Total JDBC overview are given. But here my point is what there. Now I am not talking about Hibernate. I am not talking about any other one. Just I am talking about what there. How JDBC is a data persistence mechanism. Now data persistence is what there, representing data permanently in the backend system. That's the point here. Now here I'm asking there how JDBC is a persistence mechanism. How JDBC is able to store the data permanently. How it able to represent the data permanently. That is my question, guys. Come on, quick response is required. Everybody must respond for me. How JDBC is a data persistence mechanism. Now tell me how JDBC is storing data permanently. How JDBC is representing data permanently. Right, I'm telling to you clearly. Understand this, no? Observe carefully. Here we are using select SQL query. It's okay. Maybe I may go for like what SQL query there, insert SQL query with execute update method. With execute update method, insert SQL query. Maybe update, delete, whatever it may be. All the SQL queries here were executed. Now tell me, through these SQL queries, the data will be stored into the database or not? Come on, guys. Now tell me, the data will be stored into the database or not? Now database is what there? Database is a temporary storage or permanent storage? No? Database is what, guys? Database is a temporary storage or permanent storage? I need this answer here. Database is a temporary storage or permanent storage? No? Definitely it is a permanent storage. No? So there we can achieve like what there? Data persistence. That's okay, fine. In another way, one more point I'm telling there. Listen carefully. One more point I'm telling to you. Right, sir. In JDBC, I need to add this point actually. That's why I'm repeating this point today. In JDBC, we are able to represent data in databases. That is permanent storage area. So here, data persistence is achieved. So here, data persistence is achieved. So in JDBC, we are able to represent data in databases. That is permanent storage area. So here, data persistence is achieved. This is one thing. And one more internal point I'm telling to you guys. Now try to understand this clearly. In JDBC, listen, all of you know. In JDBC, when we establish a connection is having a mode, a predefined mode. A default mode is available for connection. What is the default mode for connection actually? That is what their auto commit mode. There is a default mode for connection. What is the default mode here? That is what their auto commit mode. Understand, guys? Everybody, understand my point now. What is the meaning of this auto commit mode, guys? What is the meaning of this auto commit mode? Auto commit mode main intention is what there? Store the data, represent the data into the database permanently. Connection will give information to the database engine. When an SQL query you executed there, whatever the results you are getting by the execution of SQL query, that results you have to store into the database permanently. Whatever the results you are getting from database, that results we have to store permanently. We have to represent the data permanently. So that is the auto commit mode of the connection. Because of this auto commit mode, automatically the data is going to be stored into the database permanently. So through this one, we are able to achieve data persistency in JDBC. In JDBC, and we establish connection between Java application and a database, automatically connection will have a default mode, that is auto commit mode. Auto commit mode. Now, what is this auto commit mode actually? Here, auto commit mode will make the database engine to execute SQL query and to represent to represent results in a database permanently. Right, sir. To represent data permanently. No need to give commit operation there. No, not required here. Automatically, connection will do that commit operation. That is nothing but what there? Auto commit. Automatically, the data will be stored into the database permanently. The data will be represented in the database permanently. Whatever the operations we performed in the database, no, that operations results will be permanent. This is the default nature of the connection in JDBC. Okay. Right, sir. This is exactly the meaning of like what there data persistency in JDBC, how we are able to achieve this. Right, sir. Then after that, we have discussed about some drawbacks with the JDBC, boilerplate code, then completely repeatable code. A repeatable code, hard-coded SQL queries. Every time we have to write SQL queries explicitly. External concentration is required. External concentration is required on connection management and statement management and so on. Database dependent. Transaction support is not good. Next one is only checked exceptions. Okay, not unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions only we are getting there. Like this, so many problems are available. So many drawbacks are available with this. So to overcome all these problems there, we need to go for like what there? Some other. What is that alternative here? We have to go there now. ORM tools here we are going to use. Right, guys. Now here we need to talk about like what there? ORM tools here we have to use. First of all, here we have to understand requirement of the ORM, requirement of ORM that we have to understand. What is the requirement of ORM that we have to understand, guys? I'll give one example to all of you. Now try to understand it, guys. All of you are having awareness on web applications, right? Please let me give please all of you get some response to me. All of you are having web applications, at least for servlet application execution. Have we prepared any application with login page in servlets? Just I'm asking servlet application. All of you are having awareness on servlets? A simple servlet program. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to give a simple example. Try to understand this example, guys. All of you know. For example, here I have a registration form. Registration form is available. Here, what data is available here in the registration form now? Say, for example, student ID, student name, student marks, student address. Then here we are able to have like what there? Register. There is a button, register button. All of you observe carefully this diagram now. I'm going to give clarity for what purpose we are moving to the ORM. Right, sir. This is my registration form. Can I say registration form.html? Guys, all of you know. Can I say registration form.html like this? Okay, right. This is like what I'm telling to you, registration form.html. Okay, fine. Now at server side, we have a servlet. What is servlet actually? Registration servlet. What is it actually? Registration servlet. Okay, here I have database. Table first of all. Table is available. What table is existed here? SID, SName, student marks, SADDR. Alright, so now this is table. This table is existed in database. Right, sir. Okay, fine. Let us understand the flow of execution of this application. Okay, guys, I'm asking one question. Try to answer for it. All of you clear up to this point here? All of you clear up to this point now? Please respond for me. Nothing is there. One form I have taken, one servlet I have taken, a database I have taken. Where inside the database we have used a student. Okay, recform.html, registration servlet. Then what next one gets student? Clear or not? Okay, fine. Now I'm going to provide some data. Now try to understand it. First, here I'm providing the data. Student ID is what there? S1. Student name is AAA. Student marks are like what there? 78. Student address is like what there? Hyderabad. Guys, all of you observe carefully. When I click on this register button, then automatically what happened there? Automatically a request will come to the servlet or not? Come on, guys, you have to give answer for my question. A request will come to the servlet or not? Okay. When request is coming to the servlet now, inside the servlet, which method will be executed? Inside the servlet, which method will be executed? Come on, guys, which method will be executed inside the servlet now? Initially, service method. From the service method, you may go for do get or do post, depending on the servlet what we prepared. The service method you can understand. Okay, service or do get or do post, whatever it may be, do XXX method or service method, whatever it may be. Tell me, what are the parameters for service method? What are the parameters for service method? Do you have any parameters for service method? Two parameters are required. What are the two parameters now? Service or do XXX, whatever it may be. First one is request comma response. Two parameters are existed. Okay. What are the two parameters now? One is request and other one is what their response. Maybe servlet request or servlet response or HTTP servlet request or HTTP servlet response. That doesn't matter. Anything here we are able to take. Okay. Now, okay, definitely request and response objects must be required. Observe clearly, this is my request object. This is my request object. Where? And this is my response object. Right. Sir. Inside this request object, what data is existed here? Student ID is equal to S1. Student name is equal to AAA. Student marks is equal to 78. Student address is equal to element. As it is, whatever the data, whatever the form data we provided, the total form data will come to the request object or not. As time to time, we have to give response. Now I'm trying to introduce ORM. What is the requirement to go for ORM? That I'm talking with you now. Okay, that form data will be stored inside this request object or not. Now here also be response object is available. That's okay. Later I will talk about it. Okay. Then what next one here after that? Whenever request and response objects are created, now gradually this do XXX method is executing. When a do XXX method is executed, when a do XXX method is executed, automatically this registration servlet will store the data into the database. As part of this registration, as part of the student registration, total the student data has to be stored into the database. What data is stored here? No, S1. Next one is like what there? AAA 78. Then last, what is last one here? No, Hyderabad. The data is stored here. Okay, data is stored. Then finally some process might be completed here. When this process is completed here, automatically some response will be generated. What is that response here now? Sign up is successful. Sign up is successful, or maybe we can understand registration is successful. Okay, like this kind of response here we are expecting. Finally, that response might be available here. That response is coming here. Then here successful information here we are able to provide. We are able to keep inside this response object registration success, something else here we are able to provide. Okay, status here I'm going to provide here success. Finally here what happened there, some response will be generated to our respective browser. Registration success. Here we are getting some registration success part here. Okay, guys, all of you clear up to this part here? All of you clear up to this part now? Right. Please recognize this. Now, I want to divide this total part in this total application flow in three parts. This is part 1. This is part 2. This is part 3. Observe carefully. In the first part, data is represented along with the HTML or not? Along with HTML tags or not? Please confirm to me. Data is represented along with your data is represented along with HTML tags or not? Data is represented with hypertext tags or not? Hypertext tags or not? Hypertext markup language tags. Okay. All right, sir. So the data model is a hypertext data model. The data is represented in a hypertext data model. So the data model is what there? Hypertext data model. This is one type of representation. Representing data along with the HTML tags. That is what there? Hypertext data model. Yes, clear to all of you guys? Nice. Let's come to the next point now. Second part, if we come there. In a second part, data is represented in the form of objects or not. This is Java program. This is Java program. Servlet is nothing but Java program. In Java program, data is represented in the form of what model data is represented in the form of objects or not. So this is object oriented data model. The model for representing data is what there? Object oriented data model. Nice. Next one. Coming to the third part. In a third part, data is represented in the form of tables or not? Data is represented in the form of tables or not? When a data is represented in the form of tables, then the data model is what there? Relational data model. Relational data model. Please all of you respond for my questions, guys. All of you respond for my questions. In this application, data we provided there, same data is represented in how many models? No? Single data is represented in how many models overall in this total application? In 3 models, we represented this data. What are the 3 models where we represented this data? One is hypertext data model. Second one is object oriented data model. The data is represented in objects. Here we can understand data is represented in objects. Data is represented in what their objects. That's why this data model is what their object oriented data model. Next one. In this model, here data is represented in tables, relations. Data is represented in relations. That's why here the data model is what there? Relational data model. Nice. Now let's come for this point here. When user has provided data here in HTML form, when you click on register button, automatically the data what we entered in the registration form will come to the servlet. Automatically the data will be stored inside the object oriented data model or not? Guys, time to time response are required. When I enter the data, when I click on register button, when request is coming to the registration servlet, automatically user provided data is available in hypertext model. The data is converted to object oriented data model or not. So here data is converted from relational, that means hypertext model to object oriented model or not. Yes, data is converted in this model or not. Data is converted from hypertext model to object oriented data model or not. Right. Who is performing this conversion, guys? Have you done any such type of conversion? Did you perform any such type of conversion in our application? Have you done it? Have you done that conversion from hypertext model to data object oriented data model? Have you converted that? No, we have not converted that. But who has converted that? Who has converted that? Okay, who has converted it? Must answer for this question here. Here, this conversion could be done by whom? This conversion could be done by whom? Who has converted this? Either application servers or containers. Either application servers or containers might be converting this total data. Who is converting the total data? No, either application servers or containers are converting this data. So where developer is not performing this type of conversion, automatically either application servers or containers have done this type of conversion. Anyway, it's an implicit. Now tell me, in this conversion, is there any requirement for developer to think more about this conversion? Is it required for developers to think more about this conversion? Where developers interference is required or not required? Where developer is doing anything extra to convert that one? This is an inbuilt mechanism or not? That conversion is an inbuilt mechanism internally or not? Developer is not required to interfere in this particular area. Nice. I think you understood this point effectively. Understand it. You understood this point here. Implicitly, server will do that. So where developer interference is not required in this conversion. Leave this one. Now, everybody understand this point. Next point. Data is available in the form of objects. Data available in the form of objects. Then, after the data is available in objects, no request object, then what is the job of this registration servlet? No. What is the job of this registration servlet? No. Job of the registration servlet is it has to pick the data from request object. The data has to be stored into the database or not. Data has to be taken from request object. The same data has to be stored into the database or not. Now tell me, guys, who has to do this work now? Is that servlet is doing automatically that work, or developer has to write some logic there where developer interference is required or not? That means data is available in object-oriented data model. Later on, the data will be stored into the relational model. That means in the table. That means relational data model. Now tell me, who has to convert the data from object-oriented data model to relational data model? Who has to convert the data? Who is storing the data in the database now? Is a developer or not? Developer interference is required or not? A developer activity is required or not to convert the data from object-oriented data model to relational model now? Yeah, registration servlet is responsible for handling requests in the sense whatever the logic we have written inside the registration servlet, that is going to be executed. Means that where developer intention is available or not, where developer interference is required or not, where developer code is required or not. Right, sir. That's why here I'm telling to you here this conversion, here this type of conversion could be done by developer manually, explicitly. Right, sir. Developer must write code to translator to convert data from object oriented data model to relational data model. Yes, guys, all of you are getting my point now? Now in this overall process, no, two types of conversions here we understood. What are the two types of conversions here we are understanding there? One is conversion from hypertext data model to object oriented data model. Second one is conversion from object oriented data model to relational data model. Two conversions are available. Guys, now tell me where which conversion is going on automatically and which conversion is going on manually. Now tell me. Which conversion is an automatic and which conversion is manual? Right? First one is an automatic and second one is manual or not? Hypertext data model to object oriented data model is automatic. Object oriented data model to relational data model is manual or not? Right, sir. Observe carefully. Observe carefully. So if it is an automatic where we are not going to think about it, definitely it will be effective one. Automatic conversion is an effective one or not? A standardization or not? This is like what there, effective one. Effective one. Why? Because this translation is an effective one. Am I right or not? Why? Because this is an effective. Why? Because automatically it is done by a standard protocol, HTTP protocol, or maybe application servers. It is doing that work. Automatically it is a standard one. But whenever we are doing manually, then it is not standard one. Where developer has to do explicitly in the sense, when developer is doing this work explicitly in the sense, then what is required mainly? Sync is required between two data models. Then only developer can do this. Sync is required between these two data models or not? Right, sir. Anyway, here what I'm telling to you, sync is required between two data models, then only developer can do that. If sync is not available between these two data models, no, where developer is unable to uh, store the data into the database from the servlets, no, unable to convert the data from object oriented data model to relational data model, then it is not more effective. It is not more effective. Where developer should require some synchronization is required between these two data models now. Right, that's why here I'm telling to you guys, observe carefully. What is the conclusion here I'm telling to you? What is the conclusion here I'm telling to you? Try to understand it. In enterprise applications, we may represent data in different data models. Mainly the following two data models we are using explicitly. Mainly we are using two data models. Mainly the following two data models we are using explicitly. What two data models can know? First one is like what there, object oriented data model, and second one is like what there, relational data model. Guys, I'm not going to think much about hypertext data model. Just leave this one. That is not in our context as of now. As we are discussing about Hibernate, then that is not in our context. Yes, clear to all of you up to now? Right, sir. In data representations, both the models are having their own, both the data models are having their own conventions to represent the data. Their own conventions. are rules and regulations to represent the data. Okay. Here, the difference in conventions, here the differences in conventions, here the difference in conventions of representing data, here the differences in conventions of representing data is called as mismatches between two data models. Instead of saying data models, I want to say like what their paradigms. Mismatches between two data models. They are nothing but what their paradigms. Here, these mismatches, here these paradigm mismatches, here the paradigm mismatches will make the data persistence, is difficult. Here these paradigm mismatches will make the data persistence difficult. In enterprise applications. Yes, sir, got my point or not? Now here almost I'm coming to the conclusion. What conclusion here we are expecting then? What conclusions here we are expecting, guys? Now tell me. The conclusion is very clear. Conclusion is very clear. Now try to understand it. In the above context, to achieve data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to resolve all the paradigm mismatches. We have to resolve all the paradigm mismatches. Here, to resolve paradigm mismatches in order to improve data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to use ORM. We have to use what there? ORM. Guys, all of you understand this? What is the requirement to go for ORM? What is the need? What is the need of this ORM? All of you are getting my points clearly? Please, all of you, read this point here, what I am giving there. Without knowing this, understanding Hibernate is a waste of time. This is the main cause. This is the main reason why we have to go for ORM. ORM means that Hibernate only. In the above context, to achieve data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to resolve all the paradigm mismatches. Here, to resolve paradigm mismatches in order to improve data persistence in enterprise applications, we have to use what there? ORM. Guys, please respond for me. Give response to me. All of you are getting clarity on these points now. All of you are understanding this up to this part here. Right. Simply, I'm asking one question to all of you guys. What is the need of this ORM? What exactly the meaning of ORM? Guys, please respond for me. Right. Right, sir. To achieve data persistency, that's the main reason. But how no? By resolving the mismatches between object-oriented data model and relational data model. And by providing mapping between these two, then it able to provide this. Then what is this ORM, guys? Now here I'm having a question now. What exactly the meaning of ORM? What you are understanding about this ORM? Any particular point about this ORM? Correct? Now here I'm giving clarity for you regarding this. Now try to understand it. What is this ORM actually? ORM is a object relational model. It can be used to map object oriented data elements and relational data elements either through XML document or through annotations. ORM is object relational model. It can be used to map object oriented data elements and relational data elements either through XML document or through annotations. Understand it, guys? What things here we required here? What mappings here we are expecting there? Object oriented data model, relational data model. Their mapping should be required between what there? Class to table, object to objects to records or object to record. ID property to primary key column. Next one is normal property to normal column, and so on and so on and so on. What mappings here we are expecting there? Mappings between object oriented data model and relational data model. What mapping here it is expecting? No. Class in object oriented data model to table in relational data model. Object in object oriented data model to record in object oriented data model. Next one is ID property, primary key column, property column. This is what exactly the meaning of like what there? ORM, object relational model. Okay, fine. Next one, understand this clearly. Once again, I will talk about this ORM in the future there. But in general, there is an important interview question, guys. Here we have to answer for it. As an important interview question. Okay, not in the poem of questions here, but in general, I'm dealing there. In general, we are able to get the following mismatches between object oriented data model and relational data model. In general, we are able to get the following mismatches between object oriented data model and relational data model, and which are solved by Hibernate. Sorry, ORM. Which are solved by whom there? ORM. That means for which mismatches, in general, which mismatches are available between both the models, and for which mismatches that ORM has provided solution, then both we are able to see in the mismatches now. What are the various mismatches are available? Now try to understand this clearly. First one is granularity mismatch. Granularity mismatch. Second one is associations mismatch. Or before that, one more thing is available. subtypes mismatch. Third one is associations mismatch. And fourth one is identity mismatch. And so on and so on and so on. So many types are available. Everybody, understand my point here? What are the various mismatches are available here? First one is like what the granularity mismatch, subtypes mismatch. Then what next one here? Associations mismatch here we are getting. Okay. Now we have to understand at least what is this granularity mismatch, how Hibernate is providing solution for it. What is subtypes mismatch and how Hibernate is providing solution. How association mismatch is available, then how Hibernate is providing solution. How identity mismatch is available, then how Hibernate is providing solution for it. That all the things here we are able to understand. With this, we are able to get some clarity on ORM. What ORM is giving solution, how the solutions are provided. That all the points here we are able to get clarity. Now we have to start what their granularity mismatch. Granularity mismatch. What is granularity mismatch, guys? What is the meaning of this granularity mismatch? First of all, tell me, guys, what is this granularity mismatch? No, any idea? Granularity mismatch. Any idea? First of all, granularity. What is granularity? Okay. Right, sir. As of now, I require granularity of a class. For example, that depends on the context here we can provide. No, granularity of a class is the number of fields. They're nothing but what they're variables. Number of fields, sir, that is nothing but variables which are existed in a class. Next one is granularity of a table is the number of columns. Number of columns which are existed in a table. Yes, got my point or not? Number of granularity of table is the number of columns which are existed in a table. Guys, all of you are getting this point here? Right. Now, if I want to go for it, then I have to go for some example, guys. Guys, can I discuss that good example about this granularity mismatch and tomorrow? The total granularity related content here. Can I discuss there? Anyway, it may take minimum half an hour to 45 minutes of time is required here to explain that. So I'd like to take this part on tomorrow. Then tomorrow we'll complete this granularity mismatch. Maybe next one more mismatch I may complete on tomorrow if it is possible. Subtypes mismatch. Then 1 or 2 days of time it will take to complete all mismatches. No. Then after that we are going to understand that ORM introduction we are able to complete. With that we are able to see that ORM rules and regulations and ORM implementation tools. Part of the ORM implementation tools we are going to understand Hibernate. Part of the ORM implementation tools we are understanding what they're Hibernate. There we are going to start Hibernate. Yes, guys. Now let me talk about this point, this topic on tomorrow. Why? Because it may take some time anyway. Time may not be sufficient for us. Right, guys. That's all. Then tomorrow we'll see the remaining part. Thank you.